Hey everybody, welcome in. My name is Matt. Welcome to I35 Live is what we're calling this show. I'm joined now and hopefully for a while by my friend Ryan. Ryan, how you doing?
Hey, I am doing good, doing good. Great day of sports today, but looking forward to more to come.
Absolutely, absolutely. Got a lot of things in swing right now. We've got week 4 college football. We've got week 3 of the NFL. MLB season is in its last month, fixing to wrap up, head into the playoffs. The NHL has started its preseason. The NBA is close up upon us. Going to talk about probably 4 of those 5 things today. But first, just wanted to introduce you guys to the show, kind of talk a little bit about ourselves, and kind of tell you why we decided to create this. So I'll go first. My name is Matt. I was born and raised here in Texas. Been into sports, my whole life. As we're recording this, we're sitting in my sports room, is what I call it. It's where I have quite a few collectibles and everything. Played sports whenever I was younger. All the pee wee ones, baseball, soccer, basketball, all that good stuff. Got out of it out of middle school. Became an athletic trainer in high school. And funny enough, whenever I got out of sports, is actually when I got into following them, both in the collegiate level and professionally. So just really enjoy sports. I wanted to create this podcast because I feel like I not necessarily know a lot about sports, but love to talk about it. And it's better to talk with someone else here in the room and with you all on the interwebs rather than just my dogs. So, a little bit about me, Ryan.
Yeah, like Matt, I have lived in North Texas basically my whole life. I'm a diehard DFW teams, everything. Cowboys, Mavericks, Stars, even TCU at times. Those great 2010, early 2010s TCU teams were everything to me. So diehard football, diehard basketball. Played basketball in high school, but really football is where I love to watch the most. I went to Oklahoma State, where I worked in the athletic department, working in marketing, working in game day experience. So got to see a whole litany of things. So if I throw in some amateur wrestling lingo here and there, it's because I've worked with them for a while there and have a lot of fun moments there. But yeah, excited to talk all about this stuff.
Absolutely. And we'll go ahead and jump right into it here. First topic we're going to touch on today is the NFL. Went through the 3 preseason games. We're currently about to come into week 3. We've had some, honestly, really, really, really good games so far. But Ryan, the first thing that I want to touch on is something that I don't know that I would say I was necessarily rooting for, but it is something that I see as happening. Want to get your opinion on it as well. So I'll pose the question like this: is the Chiefs dynasty that they were building already starting to crumble?
This iteration, yes. So reason being is you see early on with Mahomes and the Chiefs, they're able to. There's always the fear of taking off the top. There's always the fear of Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman. At the time they had Sammy Watkins. There's always that fear of that. When you take away Rasheed Rice, you take away James Worthy or Xavier Worthy, excuse me. There is no fear of that, and especially too, there's no run game. And Mahomes even said when he doesn't like to run until the playoffs, he likes to save himself. And the fact that he's having to do that now is a sign that things might be getting a little desperate there. You have an aging tight end who, through no fault of his own, life happens and he's enjoying his life. You have probably a better version of the defense than they've had in a while. Chris Jones is still killing it. You still have good pass rushers. You still have a strong corner like McDuffie. So it's not, that shouldn't be an issue. I think this iteration is just kind of coming to its end. You still got Mahomes for a long time. You still have Andy Reid for the long haul. I would say I'd be hesitant to say that the dynasty as a whole is concluding. I think people were pretty quick to say that when It took 10 years for the Patriots to win another one. So, and they went through, you could argue, 3 iterations while Brady and Belichick were there. But yeah, I would be hesitant to say this is ending. We'll see against the Giants what will happen. It'd be dang near just. I wouldn't even watch it. It's going to probably be so ugly, both from both sides. But
I completely agree with you there. I think that just to your point about you had the worry of they're going to take something over the top, and right now they don't have that. They don't have that deep threat. That deep threat coming into this season was going to be the speedster Xavier Worthy out of Texas, and unfortunately, on a crossing pattern, he collided with his own tight end, messed up his shoulder, and now he's out. And so with that, you would think, okay, if we don't have an air raid type offense, if we don't have a deep threat, what are we going to do? Okay, let's run the ball. Let's get back to basics. And I think what they struggle with right now is running between the tackles. I think Mahomes is phenomenal at creating plays, getting to the edge, getting around the corner, playing outside the hashes, but he can only set up to do things like that when one of two things is happening. Either he has those deep threats where they can't, cheat up a safety or a DB, or they have a run game where you think, okay, if I'll use Clyde Edwards-Helaire back when they had him. If you go, okay, they're going to hand him the ball and he is getting 3 yards minimum. And then they run a jet sweep or, quarterback read where someone busts something on the outside, then they have that. But right now they don't have that. And I think with this iteration of the Chiefs, when they become one dimensional, it becomes easy to figure them out. Andy Reid can't assist in scheming things open. I completely agree with you. I think they have a fantastic defense. I think Chris Jones is an absolute dog, right? But I agree with you. I think this iteration is ending. I do
mm-hmm.
not think that the Chiefs dynasty overall is ending. I think they will rebuild. I think they'll come back. And to your point, it took the Patriots another decade almost.
Oh, 100%.
To win another Super Bowl, and multiple members of those teams are considered GOATs even today, even if they're not, in the Hall of Fame. So I completely agree with you. Another thing that I wanted to touch on regarding the NFL, we're 2 weeks into it, right? You can't win the Super Bowl in week 1. You can't win the Super Bowl in week 2. But you can look very solid in the fundamentals and also creating splash plays to make people think that you're going all the way. And so with that, I had a note here. What are the odds we have a Green Bay Buffalo Super Bowl?
High. Reason being, we look at one, Buffalo, for how much they struggled in the game against Miami. Again, short week, take that whatever it may be. It's still Miami. Coming into week 3, they still had, according to PFF, the second best defense. Now, that being said, they also had Ed Oliver for those 2 weeks. They haven't had him in a while, or I don't know how long they're not going to have him. So that could be a tough break for them. Again, they did not look good against Miami, who is
I think you eke out a 10-point win primetime Thursday night against a Miami team that made Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts look like the 07 Patriots. And no discredit to Daniel Jones or the Indianapolis Colts. Great organization. Honestly, really solid quarterback. But you can only win by 10 points when you already had to have a miracle against Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And then, an already struggling Jets team that, let's be honest, already has some injuries.
Oh, for sure.
And so they're already a little depleted. So to struggle with that, and I get it, right? Short week. I can completely understand that. I think that they're incredibly solid. I think their defense is honestly, this is saying after they just gave up 21 points to Miami, but their defense is solid.
100%.
And let's be real. Josh Allen's the man.
Absolutely.
There is no doubt in my mind he could absolutely win MVP again.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about a bruiser of a quarterback running through the secondary,
Oh, absolutely. He's, if you have any sort of extracurricular play involving him and running, it's great. That's awesome to have. Now, one thing I want to address, going back to what you were saying about their chances to play in the Super Bowl, just getting into the high leverage situation of having a higher seed in your conference is going to be super easy for these teams.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo might legitimately have the easiest schedule I've ever seen. Just entering their next games, home against the Patriots, you have the Falcons, the Panthers, Chiefs, which looks like an easier game now, Dolphins, Buccaneers, Texans, Steelers, Bengals, Patriots, Browns, Eagles towards the end of the year, and then Jets.
And let's also not discredit that Bengals game that before the season started
Yes.
would have looked like a tougher matchup. Now with Joe Burrow out with his turf toe, may
Yes.
not be back. If he is back, he may not be 100%. I completely agree with you. I think their remaining games, I'm not going to say cupcakes. I'm not going to say cakewalk.
You have two very, very challenging games, just looking at it straightforward. Chiefs, I'll still give the Chiefs their respect and put them there. Falcons in Atlanta could be interesting, considering how the Falcons have been playing, what they showed. We'll see if they're the real deal for weeks to come.
Agreed.
And then let's see if the Texans can get back off the mat. Again, they're just so heavily injured.
And the Texans have really struggled in their first two games. And then flipping, just talking about the NFL in general, talking about schedules, flipping from the Bills back over to Green Bay. I did not think, and this is on me, I get it, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. I'm not the biggest Green Bay supporter. So coming into the season, I thought, hey, the NFC North, it's the Vikings and it's the Lions. And those are the two teams coming out of that. I had a lot of hope in J.J. McCarthy coming off that injury. Thought they built around him, thought he was going to have it, and thought the Lions were literally just going to reload from what they did last year, and it was going to be completely fine. And then you go into week one. Granted, they had to go into Lambeau, but Green Bay handled Detroit. Absolutely handled Detroit. And I'll be honest with you, Ryan, I think they would have handled Detroit even if the Michael Parsons trade didn't happen.
Yes, they had a great scheme going into it where it was plain and simple. They wanted to make sure that they felt their presence on the line of scrimmage, which they did. They bullied the line of scrimmage. They went ahead and said, hey, you're going to try to get creative with us, but we are going to hit you in the mouth so that way that doesn't happen. Jared Goff looked all out of sorts, couldn't really get the run game going, which is their bread and butter. And I just think that defense in itself is incredible as well, because you're adding Micah Parsons already with Rashawn Gary,
mm-hmm.
who is freaky.
They're I'm not even going to say their front seven.
Yeah.
Just their defensive line
mm-hmm.
can absolutely control the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
And then you throw Micah Parsons on that, who honestly is one of those pieces that you can just move. He can rush from the right side. He can rush from the left side coming off the edge.
Mm-hmm.
You can also move him a little more towards, A gap, B gap. And he can absolutely bull rush a guard backwards to get to the quarterback.
Absolutely. And I think, again, we're talking about that side because, yeah, Michael Parsons was the biggest splash get in terms of a trade in a very long time.
Yes.
Jordan Love is incredible.
Jordan Love
is so good.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll do you one better. Josh Jacobs is still running.
Yes.
Like he was when he was in Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you that are listening that are 2 years old and don't realize that the Las Vegas Raiders used to play in Oakland, Josh Jacobs is still running hard and well and can cut.
Yeah.
And I love Jordan Love's decision making down the field. I don't think he throws unnecessary or dangerous balls. I think if he has a receiver a la Romeo Dobbs, who he thinks can either cut in on a slant or maybe go and high point a ball.
Mm-hmm.
I think he decides to throw, and he knows when to tuck it and go.
Oh yeah.
And so I think the Packers are a very, very solid team. Excited to see what they do through the rest of the season. They only have one divisional matchup out of the way right now. I think Chicago, no disrespect to Chicago, should be an easy 2 wins. I think dependent on how Minnesota is playing at the time that they play the Packers,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that would go. I think their toughest divisional game left is when they have to go into Ford Field and play the Detroit Lions on their home turf.
Yes, on Thanksgiving.
On Thanksgiving. I forgot it was on Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Is it the night game on Thanksgiving?
No, 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock. First
Lions.
game of Thanksgiving. Everyone's sitting around the table waiting on the turkey to get done.
You get a great game there, and then you get the Cowboys and Chiefs, which whatever that may be. But looking at the Packers schedule, just real quick, because we went over the Bills, they might have an easier one than the Bills.
Really?
So starting from week 3 until they play the Eagles in week 10, this upcoming week, or tomorrow as we're recording, play the Browns, the Cowboys, bye week, Bengals, Cardinals, Steelers, and Carolina before they go and play week 10 on a Monday night. Let's see, where are they playing that? In Lambeau Field at home against the Eagles. And that might be the easiest stretch of games any team can play.
Yes, I completely agree with that. And that is what? That's 5 total weeks. That's going to put us in early November?
Yes, November 10th is when they play the Eagles.
Okay. So is already going to be a little bit of a weather factor. Should be kind of cold at Lambeau. Not as cold as it can get.
Kind of cold at Lambeau, but if there is a team that can handle that kind of weather, it would be Philly.
That is true.
God, do they not want their quarterback throwing the ball?
No, they don't. And we can pivot. We can pivot from that. I'd like to talk on that as well. The tush push, in all of its, I'm not going to say glory, but in all of its controversy, where league owners are voting on banning a play, I think, in my opinion, I think that's ridiculous, right? I'm of the mindset of, if it is a legal play and they're going to line up and you know what they're going to run, you need to stack the box, line up your defense, and stop it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't stop it, then you're not going to. Now, you can get into the nitty gritty of, okay, is it a false start? Are the linemen all completely on the ball and they're not where they're supposed to be for that front 5? But conversely from that, I had a thought the other day. What do you think it would look like if a defense took the tush push positioning and lined up in that formation on the defensive side of the ball and said, okay, we're going to run it right back at you to stop it? Do you think that stops it?
So I think that's one way to approach it, because you see when the defense lines up, the linebackers, they're just trying to jump and grab something, which, again, you lose all your leverage, you lose any sort of just inherent strength when you're up in the air. Mm-hmm. And again, you're trying to push 1,000+ pounds when 1,000+ pounds is coming your way, plus a quarterback who can squat 600 pounds, plus Saquon Barkley and a tight end pushing him from behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, getting up in the air is going to do absolutely nothing. You're not going to be Troy Polamalu. You're a linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Get over it. The other thing, too, is, it's a tough game. You're going to have, I hate Nick Sirianni, but give him credit for coming up with something so just devious to run, and it works. However, I like the NFL's approach coming into this week, because you're right. The officials don't know how to solve it or how to officiate it. You can look at it from any which way, and there are so many things wrong with the play.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the officials, they do it so much, the officials can't say this is wrong every single play. They just can't. To me, I think if you're going to run it, you got to, or allow it to happen, you got to officiate it probably the hardest of any of the plays, just because there's so much going on. I think this round of conversation about trying to get it banned is not coming from what it previously was, oh, it's a health risk. No one's been hurt from that play. No one has. What they're now coming at it saying is it's really hard to officiate. And it's making the officials' jobs harder, which might play to the executives and to the league a little bit better than the health risk when there's just nothing to back it up in that sense.
Exactly. And there is nothing to back it up in the health sense, because you have the person who quite literally was at the forefront of the birth of that play, being Jason Kelce, who has gone on record and gone, I'm fine.
Yeah.
If anyone's going to get hurt from this, it's going to be me.
He's literally in the middle of the play, having to push that mass, and all of them and the people behind him landing on top of him.
I think you have 11 guys on offense. I think you have, I don't know, 10, not 10. I think they have 2 receivers lined up out. So I think you have 9 guys. You have the 5 offensive linemen, bring in an extra guy, so you have 6. You have your quarterback, your running back, and 2 tight ends, or a tight end and a fullback. You have 9 guys pushing collectively a 10-ounce, 12-ounce football. I don't know that that's accurate, but they themselves become a tank, if you will, moving forward. And I think you take the exact number of guys, or you can cheat with a safety or something. I think you take 10 guys. I think you line up in a similar formation. I think you run it right back at them. Because to your point, you're a linebacker. If you see Jalen Hurts go under center to run this tush push, and then there's been times where he kind of maneuvers, because he's kind of at the top of the pile, where he kind of falls left or falls right.
Yeah, he's looking for the hole. He's not going over Kelce every time. Wherever the weak spot is, I'm going to go over that spot.
Exactly. And I think, to your Polamalu comment, linebackers are thinking, if I can get over the top and grab him when he does that, then I can stop it. But that's not how inertia works.
Yeah, you're also not
moving fast enough.
Doing that against Joe Flacco. Exactly. You're doing against a guy who,
against a young guy
who can run the ball.
Exactly. Him, I think the top 3 running backs, or top 3 running quarterbacks in the league, in no particular order, are Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and Jaden Daniels.
You're missing a very, very glaring one.
It's not Baker, but I don't know who it is.
He's legitimately the greatest running quarterback of all time.
Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
That was very stupid of me. Apologies to everyone listening. But you take those 4 guys. I think height-wise, you don't want to meet Josh Allen in the open field.
Yeah.
But I think weight and strength-wise, you don't want to meet Jalen Hurts in a gap.
Correct. I think Jalen Hurts has done a good job also of not putting himself in that situation where he's putting himself in any sort of health risk, because he's very quick to go down if he's met one-on-one like that, or he knows he's going to get one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's so easy for him to do that push, because again, like we talked about, no harm's going to really fall him unless someone does something dirty in there.
I completely agree. I think the only thing that gets skewed by this play is Jalen Hurts' ranking on the list of number of rushing touchdowns for a quarterback, either in a season, all-time, career, whatever. I think that's the only thing that you could argue statistically is getting skewed. But hey, it started a while ago where the league started to adapt, and you had more quarterbacks coming out of college that just run. It's not even like a scramble. Oh, I got to get out of the pocket and make a play.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterbacks coming out of college today, it's not Big Ben back there. It's not Brady who's going to take a 5-7 step drop and chunk the ball down the field. And if their pocket collapses, they're going down. You don't have that anymore.
Oh yeah. The game's completely changed. If anyone wants to get a good laugh, watch John Gruden react to Jackson Dart doing his play sequence.
Really?
Usually, it's you hear green 40, 180. for everyone, I'm sorry for your ears. This is what the college cadence is, and that's it. They snap the ball.
It is.
Like that in itself is the change. They're making everything easy for them to read. They're not teaching them, okay, here's what this coverage is, here's what this coverage is at a very in-depth level, which is why you're seeing so many raw, talented players struggle so mightily when they come into the league because they're just not getting that kind of development.
And I'll go one further than that. They are taking it even easier on them because I believe there was a penalty introduced. I don't remember what year it was introduced in, but the defense can now not clap.
No, it's a simulation. I think that's what they call it.
Is that what they call it? And it's like a 5 yard. I don't know that
it's they consider it a delay a game.
Delay a game. Okay. And so even then, and then you can make it even easier on them. I'll use the example of Auburn. Hugh Freeze was quoted in the offseason. We tell our defense, I don't remember the exact quote, but we tell our defense to take it easier on Jackson Arnold in practice, so that he can build some more confidence, if you will, throwing the ball. Well, as the time we're recording this, that didn't do anything because they just got absolutely shut down by Oklahoma.
God, we can talk about that game forever.
I've got a
lot of opinions on that one.
We can, and we'll get into college football. But good segue here, talking about 11-on-11 football. Let's go to a different 11 guys. Let's go talk about baseball.
Oh boy,
baseball season's wrapping up. We're mid to late September here. There are a lot of really, really tight divisional races.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of teams that are playing really well. There's a lot of teams that are right on the bubble where it's going to take these three teams losing and Granny's knee acting up for them to get in the playoffs. And then you have teams like the Athletics, the Angels, and the Rockies. So one of the races that I do want to talk about, we'll just go and talk about our local team here, is the Texas Rangers and the race for the AL West. That has been incredibly tight, I think, for the last month and a half. And I believe within the last week, Seattle has taken over the first spot from Houston again. And the Rangers have not been mathematically eliminated either. So thoughts on how those three teams are playing and kind of give us a prediction here of what you think may happen.
Yeah, so looking at that here, first of all, as we're recording, the Mariners are up 6-0 in the 7th over the Astros, so that's really hurting the Astros' cause there. The Rangers are doing no good either because they're blowing it. They're blowing it down the stretch here, and again, the lack of leadership that is healthy is starting to kill the momentum that they were growing.
4 rookies,
exactly.
That, albeit, right, all credit to them, are playing incredibly well.
Mm-hmm.
And you love to see it, but that's just a flash in the pan because when you go and you're running down the stretch and you're thinking we have a real good shot to get into these playoffs, and you do something like go into Houston and get swept 3-0, that's not going to help your case.
Exactly, and blow it the way they did with giving up as many runs as they did. It looked like the beginning of the season all over again, where the pitching just kind of gave out at some point. So I would say, first of all, good on the Mariners for not blowing it
like they did,
like they normally would. I think it's hard to argue a guy better suited for the MVP award than Cal Raleigh.
I completely agree.
The fact that he's already had the best catching season, like batting wise, as well as switch hitting season, when Mickey Mantle existed, is incredible. And I think having a guy like him really, really helps them possibly make a deeper run in the playoffs than they would. You have a Yankees team that season that we're in right now, they played the Yankees, which, for all the complaining and moaning that their fan base has had, they're still up there. But again, they are very tumultuous.
They are. And the Yankees are such a wild card every year that they're good,
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't matter if they squeak into the playoffs, if they miss the playoffs, or if they go to the World Series, their fans are going to be New York Yankee fans. But at the same time, the Yankees are also going to Yankees, and they could do something like losing the wild card.
Exactly. They can put all their trust in a guy like Anthony Volpe, say he's purely there because of his defense, and him just actually be the worst defensive player in his position in baseball.
Yep.
Also, again, just looking at the major stats for the Yankees. I know we've segued to the Yankees, but we'll get back to our division.
I got you.
Every major relevant stat related to hitting is all Aaron Judge. And Aaron Judge in the playoffs can be a liability. I mean, at one point, at one point last year in the playoffs, he had a worse batting average than Lou Gehrig when he had Lou Gehrig's disease.
And then you couple that with the fact that you're sitting in the World Series and you can't sprint in from the outfield to catch a pop fly.
Or you have your Cy Young winner who can't, do the simple thing of running to first and leaving Anthony Rizzo just out
to dry.
Just out to dry. Yeah.
No, I completely agree. The Yankees are going to Yankees. Speaking of that division, just because we're on it, Toronto is not a team that I expected, in all honesty, to be as good as they are and to be in the position that they're in.
Before the season, I honestly had them last just because I always have high hopes for the Orioles each year.
That is true. I do.
Just because you look at the names but for some reason they can never put it together.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just a tough conversation I have to have with myself that maybe those names just aren't that good. But yeah, I thought that, Vladdy Jr. was washed.
Yep.
Didn't really think much of guys like Bo Bichette.
Yep.
But they're an interesting team.
It's the northeast region of North America right now. You have Toronto, Boston, and New York.
Yeah.
Are playing really good baseball in a time where they need to play really good baseball.
Exactly.
Taking it back, I would say other side of the country, except two of the teams in that division are in the middle of the country. Coming to the AL West, part of me wants to be like, and as a Rangers fan, this is going to make a little more sense. Seattle's going to do this. They're going to win the division. They're going to take it from the Astros, and the Astros are going to have to play through a wild card to get back to where they want to be. And you know where they want to be, and that's the World Series. But I've also seen, we'll go back 2 years, a Seattle team come out of the All-Star break in first place playing great baseball, and then they can't buy a win.
Right.
And so I don't want to say, Seattle's got this. They're going to do this. They're going to win this division. But the way that they're playing, it's hard to go against that.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think this is the year where they finally get over the regular season hump, which has haunted them for so long. Yes, they've made the playoffs and got over the hump of winning a series. I mean, they were able to handle the wild card, and of course, just ran into the buzzsaw that was the Astros at the time. But I think they have the chance, if they play their cards right, pitch if their bullpen can stay consistent, and if guys like Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez can show out in the playoffs, I think that's going to be their best opportunity. Again, having leaders in the bullpen, having leaders who can at least get on base and can produce at big moments. Again, with the Rangers, we knew in the playoffs we had to have at least 2 or 3 guys that we knew every time that they went up to the plate that they could handle it.
Yep.
Adolis Garcia, a young Evan Carter who came out of nowhere and handled business. And you have a guy like Corey Seager, the leadership and the experience. And I think, honestly, too, looking at Toronto, having a guy like George Springer, who is a World Series MVP, who's been through those battles, year after year when he was with the Astros. Having a guy like him, I mean, that's such a
It
great
absolutely is.
signing.
It absolutely is because when you use the old metaphor of the young bull and the old bull.
Mm-hmm.
If they're locking horns, butting heads, trying to fight with each other, you don't know who's going to win because you can argue, well, the young bull has more energy and more drive. The old bull has more experience.
Yeah.
And so when you get a champion, not just a World Series champion, but in any sport, it's when a team can marry those two.
Yeah.
When you have veterans on a team who can bring the experience and kind of quiet down the young guys, and then you have young guys who are hungry and want to go get those wins, who want to go make plays and put their bodies on the line to do things like that. I think that's what does that. I want to say two things about the Mariners before we get into some picks here. The first thing is I want to give a lot of credit to J Rod, to Julio Rodriguez.
Yes.
The reason being, from what I have seen, when he came into the league, he was a rookie. He was a young player. He flashed hard. His name went everywhere. He was throwing up crazy stats. He was doing crazy things on the field, crazy things in the batter's box, and that stardom and that focus has kind of tapered off in the media.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy has consistently improved himself season over season
Mm-hmm.
to craft himself into the player that he is now.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think looking at him now, he leads his team with basically we'll call it a 270 average. He's leading the team in hits. And also, I mean, he's played 153 games, so he's consistently out there.
Yep.
Let's see here, his OPS is right about average, with a 799. So basically, we'll call it an 800. But also, I mean, look at his WAR. He leads his outside of Kyle Raleigh. He's 6.4 WAR.
Yep.
Like he is as important as who's going to be the MVP of the AL.
Yep. I completely agree. Last thing I want to say about the Mariners. Can we please talk about Kyle Raleigh's nickname?
Oh, was a big dumper.
The Big Dumper.
Greatest nickname in baseball.
I mean, just who comes up with that?
You know what I mean? Big dumper.
You know what I mean? Like who looks at me like, you know what? This is the nickname. I just the first
you got to have that. You got to be about that life to have big dumper energy.
Yep.
And you know what? Yeah, he has big dumper energy.
Yep.
He's had a better switch hitting season, home run wise, than Mickey Mantle.
And when you put a player in today's game in conversations with some of the greatest players throughout Major League Baseball's history,
mm-hmm.
you know they're doing something right.
Yeah. 100%. And especially, again, we're not talking about a center fielder. We're talking about a catcher.
A catcher.
We're talking about a catcher. Think about all the great catchers out there, and he had a better home run season than all of those guys. Johnny Bench,
yep.
Yogi Berra,
yep.
Salvador Perez.
Yep.
Better than them.
Yep. I do have to say, shout out Yachty, though. You said great catchers, and the first person that comes to my mind when I hear great catchers, Yachty or Molina.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not stealing on that guy. Let's get into some picks here. So we'll go both championship series.
Okay.
We'll go World Series as well. So the American League Championship Series. I'll go first, and then I'll tell you why I think it is. Then I'll let you go. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. ALCS. I've got Boston and Detroit. I think Boston sitting in third place in their division, I think is a sneaky good team. You know, we just sat here and talked a good minute about Toronto, about the Yankees. I think Boston is sitting right there. I think they are just as talented. I think they're playing just as good baseball. And I absolutely can see them in the championship series. Conversely, Detroit. Detroit is a really good team that gets overshadowed by other teams in the American League. I think Detroit has a really, really great star in Riley Green. I think they have great management. And I think they I think that they have. This is going to sound so stupid, but I think they have the it factor. That immeasurable, undescribable aura, if you will, about them as a team that can take them to that. Because if you'll remember, 15 years ago when the Rangers went um, to the World Series for the first time, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure they played Detroit in either the divisional or the championship series that year. Because I remember them playing the Tigers.
2011.
Was it 2011?
2011.
So it was year two that they went back to back and lost both. I know. We could spend a whole podcast on that. But then they kind of fall off. But then they've come back, and honestly, man, they've come back with a vengeance. So for me, ALCS, I've got Boston and Detroit.
Okay. For ALCS, I have Boston. I'm with you on Boston. I'll come back to them in a while.
Okay.
Might take a sec. And honestly, I'll give it to the Mariners. And I like everything we said.
Okay.
I think their pitching has gotten a lot better. And I think we're going to talk about it factor. I think there's no better it factor than Cal Raleigh.
Yeah.
As of 2 minutes ago, as we're recording, he passed another record. He just passed Griffey's single season home run record. We have a catcher who hit 57 home runs this year.
Big dumper.
Big dumper. Gotta love Big Dumper. We talked at length about the Mariners. I agree with you on the Red Sox. I think they have a good young core. I think they've been through the battles of a tough division. And you mentioned the it factor. His name is Garrett Crochet.
Yep.
He's going to be hopefully the Cy Young winner for the AL. And they have a rejuvenated Aroldis Chapman. He has 30 saves.
And that stat alone did actually factor in to my decision with Boston, because when he was on that Rangers World Series championship, and you can talk
such a liability.
Oh my God, he would go into those games and you would go, okay, this ball is going to go 105 miles an hour, and the strike zone that he's aiming at is 45 inches wide.
Yeah.
Like you don't know if he's going to get taken deep, throw the ball right down the middle, or just make the hitter wear that baseball on their quad. So the fact that he has rejuvenated himself. You said 30 saves?
He's got 30 saves.
I don't think I realized it was that much. I knew he was playing well this season, but I don't think I realized it was 30. But yeah, I'm with you on Boston.
Yeah. Garrett Crochet is having an unbelievable year. Again, you need pitching, especially starting pitching, a solid closer that you can rely on, which this year alone is Aroldis Chapman.
Yep.
As of right now, hopefully that's the case for their sake. But again, you have, I'm just looking at this team. I mean, Trevor Story is doing a really good job. He's got almost a 4 WAR on him. Their slugging is really good. They're both, doing really good when it comes to OPS and on base percentage. So I think they've stuck around, and they've got the right players that they need for this team. Got a young, hungry guy in Roman Anthony.
Yes.
You get the leadership like Toronto had with like Alex Bregman, who's been through all of it when it comes to
who was on
the Astros.
The Astros, I think, during the entire run.
This was his first year.
Whenever, I don't remember what the record is, but it's X number of ALCS appearances in a row.
Yeah.
It's because let's be honest, Bregman, I hate the Astros.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone that knows me knows that. And I think anyone that is a true Texas Rangers fan also believes that. But you've got to give credit to good baseball players, and Alex Bregman is a phenomenal baseball player.
Absolutely. And so everyone wondering, well, of course you hate the Astros, and why we're not putting them in any of these lists. One, is Yordan Alvarez even going to play? And two, your pitching is giving up on you in the most critical part of the year.
You put Jose Altuve in the outfield to start the season.
Yeah, they're.
It's just, I mean,
let's be real. They're not looking too good right now.
They aren't. The fact that the Rangers could go, yes, it was in Arlington. I understand that, but the fact that they could come into Arlington and play a Rangers team that has either inconsistent or very aged starting pitching, has most of the guys that are their producers from that World Series team out with injuries, and that are starting 4 rookies. And you can only take one game?
Yep.
They are trending downhill. I do not think they make it very far in the playoffs. Could that come back to bite me? Absolutely, because they are the Astros.
They could even lose in the wild card like they did last year.
Exactly. So let's switch gears here. Let's go over to the NL. I'm not even going to quantify it. They're 1-2. I've got Milwaukee and I've got Philly.
Okay.
I think Milwaukee, consistency-wise, throughout the season has proven why they are number 1 in most power rankings, why I believe they are the number 1 seed in the NL, currently at least, as we're recording this. And the fact that, let's be honest, they look like a good baseball team out on the diamond.
Yep.
You think, what is a baseball team? What factors does it have? And Milwaukee has them. And then I'll go to Philly. The same reason that you believe in the Orioles every year, when you look at those names, is why I've got Philly in there, in the NLCS. You have so many guys in Bryce Harper, in Alec Bohm, in Bryson Stott. You have these guys that are able to produce and have produced, that just have one final playoff hump to get over. I think the team that they have this year could do that.
I think so too. I agree with the Philly piece. Just a resurgent year from Schwarber. You can always rely on Bryce Harper at points, and they do have really good pitching.
They do.
They have absolute studs in their starting lineup. So I agree with you there. I would put Philly there, and I think this might be chalk. I have the Dodgers.
I get that.
I mean,
get that.
Shohei Ohtani has had 52 home runs. This is the quietest 50 home run season I think there's ever been. Now you can put him on the mound.
Yep.
In a crucial playoff game.
Yep. And you've got
sign me up.
You've got a 85-year-old Clayton Kershaw who still throws cheddar. Who, even though he's going to retire, it does not matter. He, out of him, Verlander, and Scherzer, he still, to me, looks the best. His mechanics are still tight.
Yeah.
He still throws the hardest, in my opinion. His stuff is just nasty.
Yeah. And then you have a guy like Yamamoto, who's done fantastic this year. I mean, just a 2.58 ERA. And then you still have Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman.
I know.
I know we're just naming great players, but yeah, they have great players.
But here's the thing: they do have great players, and Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts are role players this year.
Yeah, and
they're not their superstars.
And guess what? They know how to win, and they know how to win in the biggest moments.
They do.
It's not the Dodgers of old. We can call 2020 it doesn't count. Great, they did it last year against the Yankees when everyone was actually watching this time when it comes to World Series, and they went into New York and gave it to them.
They did. You're absolutely right. I'm going to level with you. I don't think that's chalk. And here's why I don't think that's chalk. I'm pretty sure in the standings as we're recording this, the Dodgers are only third.
They are. It's almost like watching, for football terms, the Chiefs.
Yes.
Okay, they're going to do what it takes to get there in the playoffs, and then come playoffs, they're not going to disappoint. So
I completely agree. I completely agree. So let's take both championship series. Let's go one more round deeper. Let's go World Series. I've got Boston. I've got Philadelphia. We're not gonna go back through through everything here, but I think in what I think Boston takes it over Detroit. I think Philly takes it over Milwaukee. Got Boston and Philly in the World Series. I've got Philly winning it in 7.
Okay. I have a rematch of 2018.
Okay.
Dodgers. I got Red Sox. I am very torn on this because again, you have X factors on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
One side won a World Series last year with Shohei Ohtani on the bench.
Yep.
Shohei Ohtani's not on the bench this year. I still think they can win it. Now again, it's going to be 6, 7 games. It's not going to be as easy as beating New York was last year because I don't think Boston has the capability of falling flat on their face and succumbing to the pressure of just dealing with New York. So I have the Dodgers winning in 7.
Dodgers in 7. So you think Dodgers are going back to back?
Yes, I think Dodgers are going back to back.
Okay. Okay. Let me go slightly off topic here. Dodgers go back to back. Okay. That gives Freddie Freeman 3 rings.
Yes.
Does that give him enough that when he retires, he goes into the Hall first ballot?
We can have another discussion one day about what the Hall of Fame actually is
I agree.
in terms of baseball and really all the other Hall of Fames. MLB is so difficult to figure out who can get in where.
I know.
I think he will get in because I think, one, he's a genuinely good guy and has always been good to the media because you have to win over the media.
Completely agree.
So I think that helps him there. But if you look at him compared to the other first basemen that have, I mean, he's playing the same position and the same conference as a guy like Albert Pujols.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just trying to look through how long did it take Todd Helton to get into the Hall of Fame?
I think a while. I think he went in on his. I want to say he went on his 3rd.
Like we can probably try to compare stats. Granted, Todd Helton didn't have the playoff success that not even close to what Freddie Freeman had. So, and Freddie Freeman has also had memorable moments.
True.
I mean, he walk off against New York is that was as good as it gets.
Such an electric play.
So memorable. And I think I would hope he would, but again, we're dealing with the MLB writers who think they're God's gift to earth.
I know.
So, but I think his playoff acumen, and I think his just genuinely just being a good dude has helped him tremendously. Now, is he a unanimous? 100% not.
No.
But I think and I would hope he would. You would want a guy like him to represent the Hall in a first ballot situation.
I completely agree. I had a thought on it, so wanted to bring that up. We're sitting here on a Saturday night, recording this, and I've got friends right now who are currently at the Dallas Stars preseason game. I don't know about you. I've been to plenty of hockey games. I've never been to a preseason hockey game. I can't imagine it would be as electric of a environment as a regular season or playoff, hockey. I do have to say, through all the sports that I love, and I love a lot of sports, playoff hockey is the most electric environment that I've ever been in my entire life. But because I got some friends there, let's switch some gears. Talk about the NHL. We'll talk about 2 big headlines here. First one, if you don't know, I'm glad that I could deliver this news to those of you that are listening. But I believe that everyone that follows hockey knows this. I believe it's after this will be his 20th season. Anze Kopitar is going to retire from the LA Kings. Talk about a career.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably the best player besides Jonathan Quick on those championship teams. I mean, Drew Doughty was on those teams as well.
Right.
But, yeah, just consistency.
Just consistently there. You talk about leadership and being able to play and be able to deliver and everything that I've read, just a phenomenal hockey player. So just want to say on our first show that we've ever done. Congrats to Anshe Kopitar for a phenomenal, phenomenal career.
Yeah, he's been a thorn in the side for our division and the Stars fans. I mean, and he doesn't come from a country that you'd think of hockey. He's a Slovenian hockey player.
Right.
I mean, just
anyone that's followed sports in
nowhere.
the last decade, you think Slovenia, you think Luka Doncic and the NBA.
He played 14. He's played over 1,400 games, 440 goals.
Yep.
Over 1,200 points. I mean, that's a damn good career.
Absolutely. It absolutely is. Let's talk about another retiree.
Mm-hmm.
This is obviously not as new. Everyone knows this has been coming since last season. Obviously, Flower has retired.
Mm-hmm.
Marc-Andre Fleury, great longtime goaltender for a number of teams. Did have a headline come out earlier in the week, though. He is signing with the Penguins for a professional tryout. I believe he is also going to play in an exhibition game. And I could be wrong on this, but I believe this is like an NFL player signing a one-day contract in order to retire with the team that means so much to them.
Yeah.
So Flower's going to be able to retire from the Penguins, longtime Penguin. Marc-Andre Fleury, again, great career. Congrats on a great career. Well-deserved retirement. So let's look ahead to the NHL season. Let's talk about another red team who the Chiefs couldn't do it last year is going to try to go for a three-peat. What are the odds Florida pulls this off, and how much higher do those odds jump if they play the Oilers for a third straight year in a row?
I mean, if I were them, I'd just have to play the Oilers every year at this point. Yeah, I think from all accounts, it's a very tight-knit group of players.
And then you add in a guy like Brad Marchand towards the end of the season last year.
The ultimate glue guy.
And he's going to stay, I believe, through this season. I mean, that's just the firepower that you have on that team. You still have Bob in goal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, I mean they're the favorites in the entire league to win, and really outside, let's just look at their conference. Outside of them, it's really just the Hurricane, who everyone is looking at on their side. I
can see
taking through here. It makes all the sense in the world that they would at least put themselves in the chance. You got Bob in that. You have, again, just tough dudes. Dogs.
Absolute dogs.
If you just want to look at how these guys performed while injured and performed how they did, it's incredible. You still got guys like Sam Bennett. You still got Chucky in there who's ready to fight anybody who will come out there, but he can still produce. It's not about he's a tough dude, but he can still produce out there. He's not just out there to beat people up. And so I would be fine with them going in and three-peating. I do think that is the play there if you're looking at any sort of future. Again, it's not a great, it's not a great value per se.
Right.
But you would be hard pressed not to go with them. I still don't think Carolina. I still don't believe in Carolina. I don't think I ever will. Colorado could always jump up there, and they got two of the probably arguably 5 best players in NHL. Got undoubtedly the best defensemen,
and they got their captain back.
So
I completely agree with that. You went to Colorado. Let's switch over to the Western. Let's talk about a three-peat that I don't want to turn into a four-peat.
Very well could happen.
Dallas Stars, 3 straight seasons, Western Conference Final exit. They fire their coach, and we're staring down the barrel of a season with a lot of young talent where they can put themselves in a position to be in the Western Conference Finals again. Do you think with the new coach they can actually get over that hump? Because here's the thing. That route through the Western Conference. The Stanley Cup playoffs are already the hardest playoffs in any sports.
Mm-hmm.
In any sports league, the Stanley Cup playoffs are the hardest thing to get through. And then you look at the Western Conference, and you have to get through Colorado. Vegas had a down year, and they were still in the playoffs. Edmonton is clearly there. You have a Winnipeg team that just did what they did with Connor Hellebuck and could absolutely repeat. I'm not saying that he's going to have the same season that he did, but the Jets are good. And then you have teams like the Minnesota Wild, the St. Louis Blues, and the LA Kings that are consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have wild cards like Seattle and Utah, those expansion teams that are just weirdly sneaky good in some situations that they could squeak into the playoffs and cause a little chaos.
Yeah.
So if you look at the Dallas Stars, you look at their roster, you look at all the talent that they have, I think they absolutely can get back to the Western Conference Final. I just, as a Stars fan, trying to stomach 4 years in a row of Western Conference Final exits would be hard.
Yeah, 100%. I think he was brought in there to bolster the offense, which, in my opinion, wasn't the reason we lost. I mean, we had defensemen just not understanding the point of staying in front of the puck and not letting guys get past you.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, doing that against the Oilers is tough, but if you're as good as you are, you should be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly think, too, that even if we got past them and played Florida, it would have been a bloodbath.
I completely agree.
I think it would have been worse, honestly, than what the Oilers did against them. But, yeah, I mean, we saw Wyatt Johnston just have a hard time just keeping the puck on a stick.
Mm-hmm.
We have guys just tripping over themselves and just not getting to the point where you would expect them to be in their third playoffs in this. I mean, Jason Robertson, where was he? I think, too, having a guy in the previous times like Pavelski,
yes,
just the guy to say, I'm going to stand in front of the net, I'm going to have everything go through me. And even in the locker room, having that calming presence.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping that Matt Duchene would be that guy. I still will hold out hope, but last year would have been a great time to have Joe Pavelski. I hope Marchman does well not being here.
Yeah,
I can't say I'm watching that guy play
anymore. I totally get that. Shout out Joe Pavelski. Yes. Actually just got inducted to the University of Wisconsin Hockey Hall of Fame. So
good for him.
Shout out Joe Pavelski. Personal opinion,
mm-hmm.
I will say, and I will tell all of you listening, and this is going to be an incredibly biased take, Jake Ottinger is a top 3 goaltender in the league, and I will stand by that.
Yeah, he's going to be our starting goaltender in the Olympics. I think he proved himself worthy after outplaying Hellebuck in the playoffs.
I completely agree. Excited for this hockey season. Excited for it to get started. Man, it's Saturday.
And we're talking about baseball and hockey. What the hell are we doing? It's the fall. It's football time.
Let's talk about college football, man. Let's do it, man. It's
week 4.
3 weeks complete. Currently in week 4. It is wrapping up as we are recording this. And Ryan already mentioned it. He went to Oklahoma State. He is a massive Oklahoma State Cowboy fan.
Hey, we played on Friday. It's Saturday. Let's leave that.
I'm just saying. I will say, though, go Pokes for you. I'll say that for my friend. I will. I myself am a big Texas Longhorns fan. Please go ahead and get your booze out of the way. I would like to say that I am not a Texas Longhorns fan who cannot be reasoned with. I have my fair share of criticisms with the team. Just to all of you listening, just to let you guys know that. One thing I want to start with, we're in week 4. It's wrapping up right now. I want to start with a pretend exercise, if you will, as if Ryan and I were AP voters. We're not, and I don't know that we ever will be, but
We should be compared to what's going on right now. Jesus Christ.
So I'd like to talk about who our top five are right now in college football. 3.75 weeks completely complete. We're gonna go 5-1. We'll take turns. We'll alternate. We'll both go 5, 4, 3. You get the picture. I do want to start off with an honorable mention for me. I would put this team at 6. They're not my top 5 yet, but let me tell you, they are a complete team, and if they can clean up the penalties, they'll be a scary team, and that's the Oklahoma Sooners. I think the Oklahoma Sooners, I think John Mateer is a great fit. I think it really helps that he was able to come with John Arbuckle. I think Brent Venables taking over the defensive play calling has done really good for them. They obviously beat Auburn today at the time that we're recording this. Now I will say the last graphic that popped up on the TV for me, they had 9 penalties for 99 yards. That's why they're not in my top 5. Ryan, if you have almost 100 yards or over 100 yards of penalties every game, it's going to be hard to have a winning season.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But when you have the talent that they do consistently,
have a lot of talent,
especially on that defensive line. I don't know if anybody was able to watch that Auburn game, but he got sacked 10 times, if I'm not mistaken.
1 for a safety. And that is also an Oklahoma school record.
And considering how many great defenses they've had, and let's say early 2000s, that's a pretty good record to have.
Let's say this century, because their last national championship was 2000 even.
That was a pretty good defense.
That was a great defense. They've been around for 135 years. I think Oklahoma was founded in 1890. So 135 years, and just this year in 2025, they've now broken this defense. This defense has broken the school record with 10 sacks in a single game. One of those being for a safety that honestly ended up sealing the game.
It did, and we can talk about that game more, but that defensive line and that front seven did their work. Their secondary needs work.
Yes.
Because granted, you have Cam Coleman, who is a certified stud and will be a first-round pick whenever he's eligible. When Jackson Dart had the time, and they actually dialed up plays that allowed him to, have good timing and get work to his strengths. That secondary was not that good.
Totally agree. A lot of Auburn's yardage came from chunk plays over the top. They had 1 or 2 big runs that they broke off, but if they can get a handle on that secondary, they're going to be just fine. Yeah. They're going to be just fine. I didn't tell you that I was doing an honorable mention. If you have one that you would put in a 6th spot, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, Texas Tech. What they did today in Utah, the first big test of the Big 12 season, just going to Utah in general. Granted, it might not have been a night, but they went in there and won 34-10.
They did, and I will tell you,
with the backup for the last part of the game.
Yep, and I will tell you what I have seen from their experiment, if you will, combining NIL and the boosters and spending whatever it was, some absurd amount of money on their team with all those transfers. I think that it is so far it's working for them.
Yeah, you hear that, Mike Gundy? Buying players works.
Hey man, you got to respect the mullet though.
I'll respect it when it's on a statue and not on the sideline.
I hear you. Listen, if Texas Tech cracks the top 10 on the actual AP poll, it would not surprise me.
No, they're 17 right now, and they're a steady riser.
They are playing really good football. I completely agree with
And
you.
we can go through some scores in a second, but there is a top 10 team right now that is not doing well.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am going to throw out my number 5 team, and I want you to tell me if that top 10 team you're talking about that's not doing well right now is this team I'm about to put in my number 5 spot.
Let's do it.
My number 5 spot, I have Miami.
They are winning right now, as we're recording the third quarter, 13-7.
13-7. They're not even a full touchdown ahead.
Nope. And Florida has the ball, about to kick a field goal.
So 13-10.
Yeah, Florida hasn't quit, and it's a bad game. It's a rock fight in the rain.
Yep, that sounds like Miami and Florida. Regardless, I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all that I'm throwing this pick out before that game ends. So don't come for me in the comments about me putting Miami at number 5 because the game's not over yet.
Mm-hmm.
So Miami, I got number 5. I do think that, and I did not think it was going to work, but Carson Beck being there, Mario Cristobal has that team flying around on the football field. Yeah. And I think that they look really, really good, especially when they took down Notre Dame week 1.
Yeah,
that's when I was like, oh, okay, I think this Miami team is kind of for real, and they've looked good since.
Absolutely. Yeah, Carson Beck. I mean, it's the perfect situation. You tell a guy, I can leave Georgia where they don't like me driving fast, and I can instead go to Miami where I can get paid millions of dollars, drive my Lamborghini as fast as I want, and cheat on my girlfriend. Yeah, I'm fit for Miami. And he's thriving pretty well.
I totally agree with you. But I got Miami, number 5.
Okay. My number 5, I am going to choose. I like Miami in that situation. I will agree with you there. This game right now is definitely clouding it. I am confident in their ability just because, again, they really only have one other team in their conference, and they're going to be playing them this few weeks here in Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
They might play them again because the rest of their conference is hot garbage.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that they're just really good. They're absolute dogs on both sides of the line of scrimmage, which in the past years, only one has been good and the other one has been terrible. Now they're just absolutely solid on both sides. I think they have great receivers. And I think that Carson Beck is absolutely thriving behind that great offensive line there. So absolutely.
You mentioned hot garbage. I'm gonna go ahead and say shout out Clemson.
So funny. I first of all, it's got to be the longest day in Clemson history. They started the game at 11 o'clock in Central Time. They had a halftime lightning delay, and the other games, by the time their game ended, I'm pretty sure it was already 10 minutes into the third quarter on the game that was supposed to come in after them.
Yeah.
So, if I could send a few beers down Clemson's way, I wouldn't, because that's so funny. Oh, it's so funny. Oh, take that, Clemson. Take that, Dabo. I'll go on a rant real quick. God, you think you figured out coaching at 55 just now, Dabo? God, what an absolute joke. You're gonna gaslight your fans and do the whole trick. Like, I can go anywhere I want. I'm happy to go anywhere I want. If you're tired of winning, I can go wherever. Well, if you want to call this winning, I'm sure Clemson fans would be happy. Now, I think they'd be dumb at the same time to want to watch you go because you're the only person that's ever, truly been great there and put them on the map. But hey, whatever makes Dabo happy. Again, he's the greatest saying I've ever heard from a coach is saying, when asked about if he's really adapting well to the NIL, he said, of course, we've always been into NIL, the name, image, likeness of God.
Let me add to your rant here as well. Piggybacking off of that, do you think this is because Dabo is, in essence, just refusing to use the transfer portal? Or do you think Cade Klubnik is having just some sort of generational fall off?
I think not having the transfer portal absolutely has hurt them because they're clearly seeing they're deficient in a lot of areas. I mean, you're getting blown out by Syracuse, who lost in overtime to UConn, whose coach is doing the ultimate performative task of having them run gassers in full pads at the end of games in front of their fans. Like, this is a very embarrassing. Again, sounds like the pot calling the kettle black because I'm an OSU fan and I have a coach that's in the exact same space. But I feel like I have good authority to talk about this type of thing here. So I would say, yes, not utilizing the transfer portal. I don't know what their NIL situation looks like, but I'm pretty sure they have enough funds to figure stuff out for certain players. They're still recruiting at a high level. Brian Wesco's a dog. Sammy Brown is a dog. They're able to get Cade Klubnik in. But I think, and one thing that is truly an issue there is they're not developing these guys. We talk about, or a lot of experts were talking about the fact that they had 3 first-round picks coming into this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they were built that way. What about the rest of the players? Where's the development there? We like to crap on Venables all the time. He's the reason why they were dogs. They were able to get the recruits in to buy into the cult that is Clemson and develop them into the best players really in the NFL right now. Dexter Lawrence is up there as the best defensive tackle in football.
Mm-hmm.
You have guys like Trevor Lawrence. You had guys come through there all the way back to Taj Boyd and Sammy Watkins and D-Hop.
Yep.
Something has happened now where Dabo has somehow lost his edge in developing these guys. And also now that the world of college football has changed, he is doing a terrible job of adapting to it. And I think that's what's going to kill him in the end.
All that to say, we both put Miami at number 5.
Yeah, sorry. You're going to get a lot of tangents and rants coming my way.
Hey, listen, man. It's all about sports. We're just here talking about sports. That's all this is. All right, my number 4. What if I told you that I put this team at number 4 and it has absolutely nothing to do with their players and the way that they play? It has everything to do with their coach.
Georgia?
Penn State. I've got Penn State at number 4. The reason being is James Franklin. I agree with a lot of people. I don't think he can win the big one. I don't think he can do it. I think Drew Aller is a phenomenal quarterback. But I think Penn State has struggled with some games without really playing anybody. And when you have all that talent, you have to look at the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And I just don't think James Franklin can win the big one. Now that's me sitting here in a recliner, not having coached an actual football game in my entire life. I understand that. But from everything that I've seen from all the college football that I've watched and watched coaches be incredibly successful, I just don't see it. Yeah. I don't.
He's 4-19 against top 10 teams at Penn State.
There you have it.
Now, again, Penn State fans will come back and say, "Oh, well, he won the Big Ten, in 2016, a decade ago." It's been a decade.
Oh my God, I cannot believe it's been a decade.
It's been a decade.
2016.
And what's crazy is he's had a lot better quarterbacks come through than Trace McSorley. Trace McSorley is the only one who was able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will give. He might be the issue, but getting in Jim Knowles as their defensive coordinator,
I completely agree with that. I thought the Jim Knowles hire was so good.
Great. And again, as an Oklahoma State fan, I miss him every day. I have a little prayer candle of him. I miss him every day. I wish that man nothing but the best. It sucks that he has to be at Penn State, which we can talk about a different day of why I hate Penn State. But God, I miss Jim Knowles. And he's such a great hire.
He is. And Jim Knowles might be the missing link.
He could be. Now, I will say, defense-wise, they've had years in the past where they've had Abdul Carter. They've had a bunch of dogs on defense. This year, they're missing that. So is that going to be a factor when they play Ohio State, when they eventually play in a bigger game, which I think we all assume they're going to make the playoff schedule, because
Yeah.
of the schedule, because of just how good their offense is,
And the fact there's 12 teams.
the fact that there's 12 teams. Can Drew Aller not throw a pick? It really comes down to that: is can you trust Drew Aller in a big situation in a big game to not mess up? You got two of the best running backs in football right now as your 1-2 combo back there. You are missing a guy like Tyler Warren that they could rely on the year prior. They also, on offense, they didn't have a receiver that could catch a ball or get open.
Yes.
So to that point, my number 4, speaking of receivers that can't catch a football, who actually now can, Georgia. Gunnar Stockton proved a lot of people wrong, myself included.
I was going to say myself included.
Got in an absolute air show dogfight with Tennessee, all-time classic game. And I mean, when you needed him the most, crucial 4th down throws, just absolutely great. Mike Bobo, as their offensive coordinator, that's a funny name, has done a really good job of dealing with what he has. They don't have the same stars that have come through in terms of weapons in the past. They don't have a George Pickens. They don't have a Brock Bowers. Their running backs, I mean, the best running back they've had in a while is James Cook. He's not there anymore.
Yeah.
But they're doing what they can on offense. And again, you still got a really talented team, and then you got a Kirby Smart coach team. It's the best coach in football for a reason.
I completely agree with you. To that point, I have Georgia at my number 3.
Okay.
I have Georgia at my number 3. I think everything that you just said, I completely agree with. I too was a who is Gunnar Stockton person. I was in the camp of Georgia's fixing to take a step back and then take another step back and then probably take a third step back.
Yeah.
And that is not what happened at all. I think that game against Tennessee is going to end up being one of those all-time classics. And the fact that Georgia shot themselves in the foot multiple times in that game and still were able to win means that they have more room to grow and can become an incredibly scary team. Scarier than what they already are. So I have Georgia at number 3.
Exactly. And I think just one more piece of that is Tennessee should have won that game. They missed that kick. But the point of having Kirby Smart as your coach is when momentum is not in your way, how do you swing it back? There's rarely been a time where Kirby Smart has just let momentum negatively affect him. Where something goes good for the other team, boom, we're going to come right back and make something for ourselves. And if the other team just absolutely messes up, we're going to make sure they pay for it tenfold. So yeah, absolutely. I like the fact that we both have Georgia in the top 10. My number 3 team, Oregon.
Okay.
Just absolute demons. Again, we hear it a bunch. They got the Nike money. But again, they've taken. I don't think there's been a better team in football that has taken what the current landscape is and run with it. Dan Lanning is the ultimate motivator. He's the ultimate recruiter. He's the ultimate guy in the locker room that knows the pulse of his team. Dante Moore is an absolute underdog Heisman vote if you're into that type of thing. Carrion Moore is I've seen it with my own eyes, watching him decimate my D3 team of a team. He is incredible. He is the real deal. Got a guy like Uyongule on defense who's going to be a stud. For years to come. I just think they just got dudes in every position, and they're not going away.
So I completely hear you. I do. I kept them out of my top 5. And the reason I did is complete recency bias. The fact that the way that they performed in the playoffs last year totally cooled me on Oregon. I have so much respect for Dan Lanning and what he has done with that program, and them going from the Pac-12 into the Big Ten and being able to produce and win games handily. They beat Ohio State in the regular season last year.
They won the Big Ten in their first year.
Exactly. So they are a really good team, but recency bias caused me to cool on Oregon. I have them in my top 10. I don't have them in my top 5.
Okay.
So, but I completely agree with everything that you said. I can't do it, man.
Okay.
The poor showing in the playoffs last year, I need to see more from them.
I agree, and I think they were a very overinflated number 1 seed last year. They also just had the horrible misfortune of playing their first playoff game against the ultimate FU Tour team I think we'll ever see.
Yep.
But I believe in them. I've always been a Ducks fan throughout my life, so
Sure.
it very, very much hits home in that. But, I mean, they will continue to just absolutely go on a tear every game. Like Dan Lanning has that Michael Jordan type. All right, I'm going to find a reason
Absolutely.
to get mad and to find a reason to make sure our players get mad as well.
Absolutely.
And so I love that from a coach.
Shout out Michael Jordan. And to piggyback off of that, no one can debate this, at least not with me. Oregon has the toughest uni combos.
Yeah.
They do. And the amount that they have,
we can have a top 10 Oregon uniform list, and
because they have 25 of them.
I mean, we can choose ones from like 2013 that are so irrelevant.
Exactly. But I think they have phenomenal uniforms. My number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've seen anyone in any media that I consume put this team aside. I am high on this team. I am high on Brian Kelly. I've got LSU at number 2. I think LSU, I think Garrett Nussmeier, I think what they are building down there in Louisiana, I think what they have built and what they are showing now, how can you bet against them? How can you bet against them in the regular season? I would put them in the SEC championship.
Mm-hmm.
I would put them winning the SEC championship. They are such a good team, in my opinion. And they have to play in what is basically 1 million degrees if they have a day game down there. Like they're built different down there, man. And I think I'll use what you just said about whenever we were talking about Miami. Florida's not going away. Okay, well, LSU put Florida away.
Yeah.
LSU, I think LSU is so good. I think they have a tough last game of the season when they have to go in Norman and play Oklahoma.
They have a tough stretch coming up here.
They have a tough schedule.
So they have to go starting next week.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss.
Yep.
South Carolina.
Yep.
Vanderbilt.
Yep.
A&M. Alabama.
Yep.
That is as tough of a stretch as you will see.
I think they were, I could be totally misremembering this, top 5 hardest SEC schedules. Oklahoma was number 1. But LSU, and granted, right, the grain of salt is we are recording this right at the close of week 4. But from what I've seen so far from Brian Kelly and LSU, I can't bet against them. I've got LSU at number 2.
I am right there with you. LSU, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have the same number 1 as well. LSU is my number 2. Like you said, they won a game that they needed to win that they didn't win last year. I think Nussmeier did what he had to do. I think the run game can definitely show some improvement.
Agreed.
But Caden Durham, there's not a bigger believer in Caden Durham than me. I can't wait to continue to watch this guy's career. And the one thing they've really been missing, at least since that national championship team, is defense. Defense. They have it this year.
Can we talk about the Weeks brothers?
They're the best. Love them.
Can we talk about the Weeks brothers? I mean, I completely agree. They are missing defense.
Mm-hmm.
I misspoke. They were
They
with some
got it now.
defense.
They got it now.
I love LSU's defense.
I
They are
love them too.
flying around.
I mean, the most they've given up is 10 points in a game,
Mm-hmm.
and all of those games they've really had control the entire time.
They have. I think the Weeks brothers, and just as a side note, how cool is it to play with your own brother at the same school at the same time?
And that's cool as LSU. LSU's the coolest when they're good
Mhm.
and they're on. Granted, Brian Kelly kills the coolness by a lot.
That's true.
LSU is the coolest school, and they have the best. We talked about Oregon best uniform combos. I think from a standard uniform day to day, that
Completely agree.
that's the best uniform combo.
Completely agree.
Best mascot. They have the best stadium.
They're the real Death Valley.
The real Death Valley. Best center field logo. I mean, we can go to the midfield logo. They have the best tailgate scene. If anyone out there has ever heard of Tigerland, go look that up. I mean, obviously Baton Rouge is whatever that city that is. It's not great, but what they do in that campus, how can you hate that?
The only thing that would detract me from LSU, and this just comes from growing up in Texas, is the humidity.
Oh yeah, the fact that it is in Louisiana is, yeah, that's definitely a downer.
But yeah, LSU's number 2. I tell you what, you said that you think we have the same number 1. I'm gonna let you go and see if we're the same.
Ohio State?
It absolutely is Ohio State. You cannot argue against that.
I mean, just look at, you replace Jim Knowles with Matt Patricia, who, I don't know if anyone knows this, but he's won 3 Super Bowls as the defensive coordinator for the freaking New England Patriots.
And he had, in week 1 against Texas, who in my opinion should not have been ranked number 1, by the way, but we can't go back and change the past, had that Ohio State defense playing like an NFL defense.
Yeah. You have the best defensive player in all of football in Caleb Downs.
He's the best offensive player in all of football in Jeremiah Smith.
And you had a freshman go out there and handle business. Who, by the way, I can't believe that they just keep, again, I actually can believe because they're Ohio State, but just regrouping and rebuilding.
Oh, they reload every year.
Reloading instead of rebuilding. That's correct.
They reload every single year.
I mean, Julian Sain is as accurate a quarterback as you'll see in football.
I completely agree. Ohio State is such a good team, in my opinion. They should have been the number 1 ranked team in the coaches poll preseason. In the AP preseason poll, they should have been number 1. They are where they should be now in the actual number 1 AP poll.
Mm-hmm.
They are so good. They play so fast. And Ryan Day is a good coach. I understand that you can throw around he can't beat Michigan. And the fans last year were absolutely calling for his job.
Yeah.
Especially after they lost to Michigan again.
Yeah.
And they went on the biggest FU tour that I have seen in college football.
Absolutely.
In the playoffs.
And I think they're poised to have that type of season again.
Really?
Yes. I think just looking at it from, again, afar, there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to be back in the national championship. I mean, even if they lose to Michigan again, which is very much on the table compared basically how Michigan played today.
Yes.
That could be a possibility.
It was a good game.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
But I truly think Ohio State is right where poised for another championship. And honestly, I do believe that they repeat.
I do. Repeating is probably one of the hardest things to do in college football, especially now.
Yes.
Especially now with the new playoff format that they have and that they consistently keep changing. But I completely agree. I can absolutely see them back in the national championship. They are they are the most complete team in college football. I completely agree with you. Ohio State, number 1 for sure. For sure. You brought up national championship. Let's talk about the Big Four conferences.
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about who we think is going to be in those, and how do you feel about predicting a winner as well?
Yeah, I can do that.
Awesome.
So my 4. So I'll start in the ACC.
Okay.
I think these Miami and Florida State are going to end up playing twice.
I agree with you. That's who I have.
I thought it was hilarious what happened to Florida State last year, based on all the bitching and moaning that they did.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, there's no doubt in my mind they'll win the ACC this year.
I agree. I think college football media is low on them right now still,
Mm-hmm.
because of what happened last year. But I completely agree. I think I could see one of two things. I could see Florida State beating Miami in a couple weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and then also beating them in the championship. I can also see Miami beating them regular season, and then Florida State dog walking them in the ACC championship.
Come end of the season, their win against Alabama will have aged the best than any other team's win.
Completely agree.
Like that.
Completely agree. Because Alabama could very well do Alabama things.
Yes.
And run the gambit for the rest of the season.
Yes. 100%.
So I completely agree. Miami and Florida State are definitely in the ACC championship, especially because Clemson is just dead.
Yeah. For my Big Ten, I put Oregon and Ohio State up there for a reason. You be a smart person to choose either one of them, but it's Ohio State until they prove me wrong.
I completely agree. Ohio State's winning it. I'll be honest with you. I have Ohio State and Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give you a dark horse. How do you feel about Ohio State USC?
I love that you went there. Ohio State and USC. Jordan Maeva is the most underrated big school quarterback in football.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just how last season ended, and just the whole stink of having Lincoln Riley as your coach.
Yep.
Has really brought that down. They are ranked now. I was going to say that next week when they play Illinois is going to be a very big game.
Mm-hmm.
Shocker of the week.
Okay.
Indiana, Illinois, big game.
A huge game, top 20.
Top 20. Indiana's winning 63-10.
You're joking.
Nope. So, I think myself included, we all owe Indiana big I'm sorry. But 63-10.
My
they took the
goodness.
Noise, and the Brett Bielema noise, and I don't think we'll be hearing of that ever again. Fernando Mendoza, who, oh my God, what a quarterback. He's 21 for 23 with 5 touchdowns.
Okay, so the fact that number 9's going to lose.
That was my top 10.
Texas Tech and Oklahoma, I bet you crack the top 10.
Yes, I need to check where Florida State is and all of that, but yeah, I'd agree.
Wasn't Florida State idle this week?
No, Florida. Well, they're playing Kent State, so yeah,
yes.
They're idle. Yeah. They were 7. Yeah, they were already in the top 10.
Yeah.
Just an absolute butt kicking there.
Wow.
So yeah, to your point, yeah, I think USC has a great chance. Based on that, they still have to play a Notre Dame team who doesn't have a defense,
doesn't have an identity. Who
they have a good quarterback.
They don't have a
good
running quarterback.
No,
because their backup quarterback cost them that game against A&M. Because that game against A&M, A, was in South Bend, and B, they should have won by 2 touchdowns. I don't want to discredit A&M. I had a lot of faith in Notre Dame, and then A&M goes out and proves me wrong, and stands toe to toe with Notre Dame. And the fact that your backup quarterback cannot handle a snap, not even on a field goal, on an extra point, where you've already scored the go-ahead touchdown, is insane to me. But you have to give A&M their due, because that final drive was pretty.
Yes. And defense, yeah, again, you're playing a really good offense. Stood up when they needed to stand up.
They did.
Marcel Reed announced himself to the world,
and
he's going to be a lot of trouble for these SEC teams.
Yep.
I thought A&M would be an easy win for them.
Yep, I completely agree. So
your Jordan Maeva pick, by the way?
Yes.
He is currently – they haven't played yet, but
late game, I know.
Late game.
Starts at 10 p.m. Central, I believe.
Yeah. He is 989 yards, 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions,
Yep.
almost a 70% completion percentage.
Yep.
Not bad. That's a Lincoln Riley quarterback.
It is, and that's why I wanted to throw that dark horse at you because it's something that I could see. I'm gonna go Big 12 here. I got Texas Tech, Iowa State. Texas Tech, we've talked about a lot on this show already.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa State, Rocco Becht is I think, great quarterback talent who is not given his due because he plays for Iowa State.
I agree. I think when you think of Iowa State, you think of hard running. I think you think of tough defense. Mm-hmm. I think Brock Purdy should have broken that identity. But again, it's still Iowa State regardless.
Yep.
And yeah, I think they made the championship last year. They just went through a buzzsaw that was Arizona State. But I do think that's going to be that would be a great matchup, regardless of who's the Big 12 championship or not.
I totally agree. Want to throw a dark horse at you in this one as well.
Mm-hmm.
After their win over SMU today, can you see TCU in the Big 12 championship? Do you see any sort of regular season play out that throws TCU into that?
I do. I mean, you have your quarterback throwing 5 touchdowns. You have a beast of receiver, McAllister, who had 8 receptions, 254 yards and 3 touchdowns against a team who made the playoffs last year.
Another day at the office.
Just absolute amazing day from Eric McAllister. Looking at their schedule right now, they play Arizona State, who's up on Baylor right now, next week. Colorado, Kansas State, Baylor. They play Iowa State later on in the year. And BYU is certainly not a walk in the park either. So right. I don't see why not. I think where I'm getting at is I don't see why not. They had a team, for right or wrong, whatever you think of it, made it to the national championship.
Yep.
Still have that same coach. Still have the same identity of we're going to run everything through our quarterback, make sure he makes good decisions, have a good athlete at receiver out there, and just play bend but don't break defense. And they certainly did that today.
They did indeed. Do you have any other teams you think Big 12 wise would make that championship?
We can't count out Arizona State. I think they lost a close one to a Mississippi State team who might be better than when we think. BYU's never out of the picture until they force themselves out of the picture, so don't give up on them yet.
You think Utah's out of it after today?
Yes. I think that is a very, very demoralizing loss.
I
at home. They were given no favors by playing the game at 10 a.m.
Agreed.
But I think in that conference, there's levels, and Texas Tech and Iowa State are above any of the other team. I think TCU could get there, but it's those two teams until proven otherwise.
I totally agree. All right. My SEC prediction has drastically changed from what it was in the preseason to what it is now. What I have right now is I have 3 teams in the mix. And the reason I have 3 teams in the mix is I think the last game of the season is between 2 of them, and I think the winner of that game goes. Okay? So I have Georgia in it for sure. They have an incredibly favorable schedule. Mm-hmm. They rarely go on the road. A lot of their games are either at home or neutral sites.
Or in the state of Georgia.
Yes.
But don't tell that to Kirby Smart, right? Because if you make him go on the road for more than 2 games in the season, he'll lose his absolute mind.
Right. No, of course. So playing Georgia in the SEC championship, in my opinion, is either going to be LSU or Oklahoma. They play the last game of the season, and I think both of those teams are good enough, and they will have good enough records at the end of the year that I think it will be like what Texas and Texas A&M was last season. And I think the winner of that game goes to the SEC championship.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see the both of them jockeying for that spot. I do think it's LSU. I do think LSU will play Georgia. And I think LSU handles business. I really think LSU's defense in prior matchups against Georgia has really hampered them. But again, LSU has a defense.
They do.
And when LSU has a defense and they have a certified pro like Garrett Nussmeier, 100%.
No, I completely agree. I do. A couple of different points after these predictions that I do want to talk about here. One being, do you think that Ty Simpson in Alabama, we already mentioned at one point them winning out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that team is talented enough, A, to win out, but B, to get in an SEC championship spot ahead of Georgia or Oklahoma or LSU?
That's going to be tough. I'm going to say no.
Okay.
One, they have to play Georgia next week.
Correct.
So that might decide that. They still have to play. Just, again, we want to talk about tough schedules. I can't help but laugh. Their next, down the stretch, what it's going to look like. Their next games are at Georgia, home against Vanderbilt, at Missouri, home against Tennessee, at South Carolina, and then home for LSU and Oklahoma before they play, their cupcake end of season game and then Auburn.
Sure.
So, and that Auburn one's not a guarantee either. Auburn held their own for the most part today. That is a tough schedule. You're asking a very, for what looks like very fragile coach, a very frazzled coach as well.
Yes.
To deal with this kind of pressure. He handled it against Georgia last year in an all-time classic, but then they went and laid an egg in Vanderbilt.
Yep.
This year's the same exact situation. They have to play Georgia, then they have to play Vanderbilt.
Yep.
Which is hilarious that's how that ends up.
Yeah.
But I think how their schedule goes, and from what I've seen from them so far, they've played tremendous against very bad teams. But then you have a team that can bow up to them again on the line of scrimmage, and I don't think that will go well. And if we make any prediction, I think Georgia handles them next week.
Okay. I have another follow up on a SEC team here. I'm going to take myself out of this because I think at this point I've become one of the Texas Longhorns' toughest critics.
Mm-hmm.
I love that team. I have since I was a little kid. Legitimately, the first football game I can remember consciously watching was their national championship against USC.
Yep.
And the reason I picked them as my team, and I'm not kidding, I was watching the game with my parents, and I'd never really paid attention to football prior to that other than listening to my dad yell at the Cowboys or watching the movie Little Giants, which great movie by the way, but I was like, hey, why are we yelling for this team? They're like, because they're from Texas. And my brain was like, oh, Texas. I'm from Texas. Okay, cool. So this is the team that I cheer for. That's the dumbest story to how you pick a school to cheer for, but that's how I picked them.
Yeah.
And I think it's tough right now. Yes, we're playing well, but the last 2 games, we've not looked how I wanted to look. Arch is really, really struggling. Our receivers are really struggling. Our offensive identity under Sark is bubble screens and 2-yard runs. He doesn't take shots down the field. And so all we have is a defense, in my opinion. So the question I want to pose to you, I say as Texas is currently up 55 to nothing.
Yeah. I was waiting for you to be like, okay.
Yeah. But it's also against Sam Houston State, so let's just take it with a grain of salt here.
Well, I mean, they played 2 cupcakes prior, and
I know.
Didn't really look like this.
I know. Yeah. But my question to you is it Arch? Or do you think when you look at I don't know if any of you have seen it, Ryan, I don't know if you have seen it, or any of you listening, there's a post that has been floating around showing Arch Manning's stats through his first 3 games. comped to Joe Burrow stats in his first 3 games in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not building up to say Texas is about to go win the national championship. They're not. So nobody think that, please. Um, do you think it's Arch? Do you think he's in his own head? Do you think
Yes.
he should have been a 3 or 4 star and he got that 5th star coming out of high school because of his last name? Or do you think that one of the great offensive minds in Steve Sarkisian is not using his pieces adequately?
I think it's more of the latter. So I'll say he is definitely in his own head. If we watch just last year when he had to step in for Quinn Ewers, it's a completely different person.
Yeah.
I think the fact that, I mean, just the absolute hype and mania of just the preseason of what he had to live up to. I mean, basically being told without even really taking playing in a meaningful game at that magnitude, you're going to have to go play Ohio State. You're told you're the Heisman favorite. You're told that your team is the number 1 team in the nation and that you're going to be the first pick. And it'd be an actual shock if he went back to school.
Yeah.
And then having to go in and play Ohio State and just not be ready, or not even be ready, just be in a terrible situation.
Yeah.
I think that really messed with him. I talked about it with a few people outside of this, but it looks like he was having a Markel Fultz type situation where he was just so in his own head. He's having these yips. People call it an injury. I think if you look at it, he's just in his own head, missing wide open things. And also, I really think Sark could do a much better job of giving him early wins.
Yeah.
When they played San Jose State, he looked really bad, and then you just give him that one play that gives him a wide open receiver for a touchdown, and then he was fine the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You need him to have those early wins, at least right now, for him to get out of his own head. I don't know. I'll have to watch the highlights of what they did against Sam Houston State. But, I mean, he went for 18 of 21, 309 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. He also had 2 running as well. And it's not like he's just dinking and dunking it. He had 1 to Ryan Wingo for 53 yards.
Right.
So I think also getting Ryan Wingo in there and playing well, not having to just rely on Parker Livingstone is a great sign.
Yeah, I totally agree. Is there any team, just to get out of the SEC, is there any team in the nation that you think is just abhorrently underrated? Is there any team that you think they might be receiving 1 or 2 votes in the AP? They're a sneaky 3-0, 2-1 kind of team that you've seen that you're like, if they get more of a national platform, they might could do something here.
I mean, it's hard not to say TCU.
Okay.
I think after what they did today will get them on that level. I think a team that's already in the top 25 that continues to prove themselves. I'll give you 2 here. One is Michigan. I think people saw what that happened to OU. Again, that might be one of these losses that age very well. Just having to put Bryce Underwood in a tough situation in his second ever game.
I was gonna say as a true freshman.
But then he goes into Lincoln, Nebraska, which is no walk in the park.
Correct.
With a team and a fan base who believes they're next up, and to stop that hype train, tremendous job there. And I think the other one, they should have won their game against Georgia, but Tennessee's right back where they should have been a year ago. Joey Aguilar, I mean, if there's any group of people who have ever won a breakup in their lives, it's Tennessee fans.
Absolutely.
It is so apparent of whose fault it was and who just wasn't in the right mindset to go and win games. Because you have Joey Aguilar out there who just takes the reins and says, I got this, don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of great teams, and this has probably been the most fun, just so far, fun football season in a very long time.
Absolutely. 1,
because I don't have to worry about OSU anymore.
And 2, because it's so wide open.
It's so wide open. you have a team like Tennessee that could very well go in and ruin everything that we've talked about.
Absolutely.
I,
Absolutely. I'm
it's
gonna take
absolutely
your
incredible.
Tennessee breakup. So UCLA fired their coach,
That's a situation where he should never even been the coach.
which means that Nico Iamaleava can transfer again. I've got a buddy of mine who's a big Tech fan. I keep telling him he's going to transfer to Texas Tech. I don't think that's going to happen, but do you think he transfers? And if he does, where do you think he goes?
Well, from what I've heard, he basically turned down $4 million and got significantly less at UCLA.
Yep.
So now I think it might be a situation where he's like, well, I've ruined my value here in college. I got to do something to build my value in the pros. So he could very well go somewhere that can develop him into a pro. Who that would be and who would be ready to take that on?
Boise State.
Well, they tried that thing with Malachi Nelson, and that didn't go well.
Correct.
Boise State very well. They don't even have a quarterback who can throw a forward pass.
That's what I'm saying.
I know, but in terms of developing him into a pro,
Washington
could be.
Michael Penix is doing really well.
Yeah. I got to remember his name. It'll come to me. I think Washington would be a great place. I think going back to one of the older takes I had earlier today about Oregon, having a guy like Dante Moore, who started at UCLA, who knowingly transferred to Oregon, knowing that he's going to have to sit behind Dylan Gabriel, and now he's flourishing. That shows so much maturity.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he could very well maybe do something like that next year where he's like, hey, I need to sit behind someone and learn. Because, I mean, he did try to do that at Tennessee, but he had Joe Milton in front of him, and I don't think learning in front of Joe Milton is going to help anything.
So I think if he transfers anywhere to try and learn behind somebody, whether it's for just the rest of the season, or if his lawyer wins the battle or whatever, maybe it's next season too. Vandy, Diego Pavia.
I can see that. I that's also considering if Clark Lee doesn't leave and take a better job.
True.
But yeah, I think that would be a great spot. Also, like a place like South Carolina.
Oh yeah,
where you have Lenore's,
Shane Beamer and Lenore's Sellers is in front of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I think just if he's going to transfer mid-season, go somewhere. He also can't declare to go to a different team yet.
Right.
So, I mean, having someone who is going to be there for the long term, I think that'd be a great option.
All right, I got one more thing. We'll get out of here. It's been talked about in every realm of college football media that you can think of, and I want to get your opinion on it. I know where I stand, but everyone has their reasonings for why they like one or the other. Talking about what the playoff model is going to go to if and when, I believe that it's when, they expand from 12 to 16 playoff teams.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know that you know this, but just for those of you listening, let me go ahead and go through this, at least the way that I understand it. Currently, there's two different models. There's the 5+11 model, and there's the AQ model. The 5+11 model is exactly how it sounds. It's 5 conference champions and 11 at-large spots. So you take the 5 conference champions, and then it is essentially the college football rankings of whoever is not those 5 teams, 1 through 12. Or 1 through 13, whatever it is. And that's it. The only guaranteed spot that any conference gets is their conference champion, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Conversely, you have the AQ model, which is where you have 4 automatic qualifiers from the Big Ten and the SEC. How that would play out is it would essentially mean less for championship games because you would have both teams in the championship going to the playoff. They're playing in the championship for seeding. And then you have two more teams. And the way it would play out, at least the way that I understand it, is you have the number 3 team. Let's use the Big Ten. You have the number 3 team and the number 6 team. They play each other. You have the number 4 team and the number 5 team. They play each other. The winner of those two games, they go to the playoff. 4-4 for the Big Ten and the SEC. That's 8. Then you have 2 each for the Big 12 and for the ACC. And all that's going to be is your conference championship. It's the two teams that play in the championship game, and if whoever wins gets the higher seeding, right? And then that's 12, and then you have 4 at-large spots. That includes a good Notre Dame team for when they are good. Obviously, that so far is not this season, but it paves the way for them. And then you also have if Florida State and Miami from the ACC both go, but for some reason Clemson is also good,
Right.
it paves the way for a Clemson team to go. Maybe there's another independent, something like that, or some team over on the West Coast. So you take those two models and then you think, okay, what is best for the sport? Which one would you support?
I mean, I would choose the 5 plus 7. 11. 5 plus 11 in that situation. Just because, again, you want to reward the conference champion. But again, I think the automatic qualifiers, I just don't. I've just never been a fan of that.
I think it takes away from. I'm in the same camp. I think the 5 plus 11. The more I look at it, would be a better format.
Absolutely.
Because I think the AQ takes away meaningful football.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, it takes it away. It takes away the idea of, okay, winning your conference used to mean everything.
Yes.
Again, back when the bowls actually mattered.
Right.
Now it's like if you just say, okay, we have 4 that can automatically make it. Well, what's the point of winning your conference? What's the point of it? That severely devalues the regular season to where, okay, I can lose 3 games and still make it in because we're in the SEC. Yep. That takes away from a team who would deserve it more in a Texas Tech scenario.
Yep.
Where now they're having to fight even harder to be relevant when a team like Tennessee, who may not deserve it, I'm not just using them as an example, don't come after me, Vols, but we're the 4th team, so we're just going to make it in anyways.
Yeah.
It's almost like having in the BCS year where a Boise State can go undefeated and can never get a sniff of a championship game.
Yeah.
So at that point, if you're going to do the automatic qualifier, you might as well just say, hey, we're getting rid of conferences. We're going to go into a big league, and then everyone else is on their own.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think the 5 plus 11 is a lot better than the AQ. But then again, we're not the ones that get paid to make those decisions. So nope. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I believe it is coming next year. I could be wrong in that, but I believe the last I heard is that it is coming next year. Real quick before we get out of here, why don't we get a final update on the late games here? USC essentially just kicked off, so we're not gonna. I don't know about you. I'm not staying up for that game.
Nah, as much as I'd like to see what comes to USC, I'm not going to stay up for that. Let's go through just the top teams with games with top 25
Perfect.
Teams. Miami, with about a minute 30 left, is going to win 26-7.
Okay.
Vanderbilt, good, is in the 4th quarter against Georgia State, 56-15. Texas handles business, 55-0. Nothing wrong there. Nope, nothing to see.
Nope.
No, past few weeks meant nothing.
Nope.
LSU, 56-10 over Southeastern Louisiana. Oregon wins the Civil War, 41-7. Florida State, again, they play their bye-week team, Kent State, 66-10. Mentioned earlier, the biggest shocker I've seen in a very long time.
That is an insane score to me. That is an insane score to me.
I need to see
what happened.
66-10, Indiana over Illinois. That's a fake top 10 rating.
That is That is insane.
Yeah.
That if they don't drop completely out of the top
I think
25,
they should. Something
I
like
think
that.
they should too.
Yeah.
But if they don't, then I will lose more faith in the AP than what I already have lost.
Yeah. Oklahoma beat Auburn 24-17. Another shocker, in my opinion, just because I thought this team would have the group of 5 bid, but Ole Miss wasn't even close one to begin with. 45-10 over Tulane.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Tennessee over UAB 56-24. Texas Tech, big noon game.
Yep.
Kicked butt over Utah 34-10. Georgia Tech stolen their role against Temple 45-24. Michigan goes into Nebraska and kind of, like we mentioned earlier,
Yep.
Stops that hype train in its track. 30-27. Good game.
Yep.
Battle of the Columbias. Missouri beats South Carolina 29-20.
Okay.
And Notre Dame gets their first win. Congratulations, Notre Dame. But they still give up 30 to Purdue.
56 30 to Purdue?
Yeah, that's
my goodness.
That might be a
Notre
tough
Dame
one.
needs to figure that one out.
Yeah, they have a defensive coach as their coach, and they can't do that. It also doesn't help that their defense coordinators now in the NFL.
True.
But yeah.
All right. Did you see that clip of the UAB player stomping on the Tennessee kicker's foot?
Bush League.
I think that was a little stupid. I think that was a little stupid. Awesome. Well, Ryan, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for tuning in and for listening. This is our first episode ever, and we really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to hang out with us. We are 2 guys who are very passionate about sports, love talking about sports, and we are hoping to continue to do this, if for nothing else, just to hang out with each other and talk about sports. So thank you all very much for tuning in to the very first episode of I35 Live. I'm Matt.
I'm Ryan. Go Pokes.
And we'll see you guys later.